Good evening and welcome. Welcome, guys. Welcome to tonight's live. I'm just kind of getting set up still a little bit, but that's normal. Normal. Move that. Put me back up there for a minute. Welcome to the channel. Let me get myself over to the chat part. Well, hello, everybody. Aw. Dandy Patch says thanks for the membership gifted to them. So if whoever did that, I don't know if it was me or someone else. We've been gifting out here though. Is everybody doing okay tonight? Everybody okay? I saw Legendary was in here, so we can start on time. That's good. I was in the chat earlier and then I had to jump out of the chat because I was writing notes, and then I was like, man, if I don't get out of the chat, I'm not gonna write any more notes. So I was looking and then I was reading. Oh, Mindy's cooking dinner. I bet it's something good. I'm just kind of going through the chat. It's good to see everybody. Good to see all the mods here this evening. If you guys need anything throughout the chat, just let me know. If you have to type it in bold, that's fine with me. You know how it goes around here. Sometimes I just can't see. Lionel's in here. That's good to know. I hope I'm saying that right. Hey, ATS News. Hey, Avery. Hey, Diana. More Flair. I see all kinds of people in here tonight. I love it. Teresa's here. Summer's here. Elbeam. Nancy. We got everybody. I see Isabel. She might be taking a break. She might be taking a nap. Poor girl. We work her hard over here, especially at night. Hey, Mandy Joe, how are you doing? Hopefully everybody's doing good. We are going to go over the Idaho case tonight, so let me get my camera on. I feel like wow, maybe start my camera and not remove myself from the stream. But if you guys don't mind just taking a minute to, like the video, it does help the channel go into the algorithm. And I'll try not to bother you guys too much with it tonight since it's scrolling along the bottom. We'll try. No promises. If you would like to join our channel membership, I'll put it in the chat. So that's one way to support the channel if you like to do that. If you wouldn't mind, like I said, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll go ahead and we'll get into tonight's live. Stream's about to be spicy. Yes, it is, Brooklyn. It is a good stream tonight. So I'm going to do some reading. So I'm going to turn my camera off for just a moment. I did slow the chat, so it won't affect members any, but it may affect non-members. If it's too slow, let me know and I can speed it up. If it's too fast, let me know and I can slow it down. I need a projector. Oh, and I wanted to say thank you for gifting a membership. I saw that. That was Jan. Thank you. And Vincent came in earlier. He got his 6-month member arm. He's totally flashing that rainbow titanium arm around. So, oh, thank you, Avery, for gifting out 5 memberships. That's so incredibly kind. And Candy became a new member. Look at that. We've got members everywhere. I love this. Love it. We love it. So, oh, actually, before I forget to show you, if I start to read and I don't, I'll turn my camera back on, but I forget sometimes, I went and I got my nails done today. We decided to go with yellow. I know I do white. I've done white like the last 3 times on this finger, but I wanted to do for Ethan. So, for Maddie's birthday, I did pink on my nails. And then for Kaylee's birthday last month, I did purple. And then this time I wanted to do Ethan because by the time Xana's birthday comes up next month, I wanted to do a color for her. And I figured it's just, I don't know. It's something I can do, in memory of them. I don't know. And it helps me pick some colors too, because I'm not good at that. Oh no, that's okay. I'm shamelessly plugging that in. Oh no, I'll have to watch it. Did you start one today? I didn't see. I start lives again. That's awesome. Are you doing true crime? What are you doing? I love it. I know, it is really kind. I love gifted memberships because, I love when people buy their memberships, but I love when they're gifted too because that brings new people in, it seems like. So I love it. Or if there's somebody that's been in the chat and maybe they can't buy a membership, it gets them some memberships as well. So I love that. Well, geez, Avery, thank you so much. She just gifted 5 more. Everybody's going to be a member tonight. And I love that. We are green folk. We are green folk in this chat. We really are. Oh, you have a bulldog? Oh, I just saw the dog talk, so I was like, oh, here I go. Yeah, don't get me started on that because we will get started with the live if I don't start, you know. So basically, I want to show you that, and then I do have the book that I got from Mrs. Chapin. It is coming. I wanted to tell you guys that because I'm going to read it to you guys whenever I get it. I thought it'd be cute to read to you guys. It'll be here between June 28th and June 30th. So, yes. That's funny. Okay, so let me get to here. Okay, so we got him up. Okay, Bryan Kohberger. That's what we're going to be talking about this evening. I'm going to read some documents over to you guys, but because there are new documents that came out tonight, which we kind of knew they were going to come out, and they are huge for this case. But before we start reading, tonight's new filings, I want to go back to last week when the documents first kind of dropped, when we hadn't heard anything outside of the PCA. So back on Tuesday the 20th, I went and looked some dates up because last week was kind of crazy, if you guys remember. So on Tuesday the 20th, there were documents dropped. And the one in particular that got everybody's attention was the motion of protective order that the state of Idaho dropped. So it was 33 pages, and it was on how DNA is collected, processed, and handled in an investigation. They talked about how they obtained the DNA when they sent the knife sheath over to the Idaho State Lab. Then they sent it to a private lab for genealogy testing when their STR profile that they obtained couldn't get a hit in CODIS. And CODIS is the Combined DNA Index System, and it is a system that they have for criminals that are felons. Basically, if you commit a felony, you go into jail, they take a sample of your DNA and they put it into this system. So it's very interesting. So for him to not show up in the CODIS databank, I mean, that makes perfect sense. Why would he? He wasn't a felon at the time, so he wouldn't have had his DNA taken and put into a database. And it shouldn't even be in a database, I mean, other than what they've used it for at this point, just for the fact that, he is not convicted yet. So, and we also talked about Bryan's DNA and how they said that it was 5.37 octillion times more likely that it was his DNA than anybody else in the whole, the whole world. There's less people in the world than that. Thank you, Jan. Man, my attention got that. That got my attention. The big green things. Thank you, Jan, for gifting a membership. That's so sweet. Thank you so much, guys. That's so incredibly kind. You guys have no idea. Really, very incredibly kind. Thank you guys so much. And if you want to do something and it's free to help the channel, you can always hit the like button, Hello, Bree. Hello, Gina. Oh, hello, everybody. I love it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. I'm going to play you guys a video here. It's going to kind of take us back just a couple days because, I feel like a lot happened. Okay, I want to make sure that I played the right one. So this is our dude Kumo. So he's going to go over the DNA and the match, to Bryan's match to the DNA. So with that being said, we said this on the live too the other night, and I don't know if everybody was here to, hear it or whatever, but they never stated, and maybe you guys can help me because maybe they did, and y'all, maybe even the newer people coming in, maybe they'll know or the older people, maybe you guys didn't hear me the other night when I asked, but, oh, hold on one second, guys. Sorry, guys. But no, so they never stated in any of the documents that I've been able to find what kind of DNA was on that button snap? Like, we have all heard touch DNA. We've all heard that, but I haven't seen that. And I didn't know if anybody else has seen that. The only place that I remember, I think we heard it, was Howard Bloom, the author that wrote the the airmail articles that were way too hard to read, and I got made fun of so much for those things because they were like really long, and he used words that weren't even in his realm of being real. But yes, we are getting close. We're getting close to that 10K. I have it in here, so if you hear me smacking something, that's my hands. But yeah, so we don't know what kind of DNA it is, I don't think. Well, that's true, Mandy Jo. Okay, so blood wouldn't be DNA. Well, I wonder if it was like sweat, saliva. I mean, it could be skin cells or, I was just wondering. No, I didn't, Ivy. And I usually watch her too. The state only said one male profile, didn't specify which. Yeah. Olivia. Yeah, I'm just kind of wondering. I'm wondering what kind of, well, I mean, now after these new documents that have come out tonight, I mean, I'm all like, well, checkmate, said the prosecution. So, like I was saying, on the 20th, the documents came out. These were dropped by the state. So Idaho dropped these documents. So then on the 23rd, actually, let me play this video for you first, and then we'll go to the 23rd. I'll be right back.
Allegedly left. Breaking news in the case against Bryan Kohberger. A second, more definitive DNA test taken from suspect Bryan Kohberger's cheek swab matched DNA left on that infamous knife sheath that Kohberger allegedly left behind. What does this mean for the case? What does it mean that what we learned about the location of the sheath and how that makes the case even stronger? News Nation Law and Justice contributor and former FBI agent Jennifer Coffindaffer coming to us from far away, even though she's not supposed to be working, because she cares that much. And forensics analyst and professor emeritus from the John Jay College of Criminal Science, only the best, Dr. Larry Kobylinski. All right, first, Coffindaffer. The genealogy route was novel, but needed a layering effect for evidentiary purposes. What have they achieved, and how did they do it now?
Well, this is great because it's actually direct evidence, right? It directly applies to Bryan Kohberger. There's nothing in between for all the individuals who are skeptic about genetic genealogy. You don't have to go through those steps. This is Bryan Kohberger's DNA on that snap.
Kobylinski, in terms of them taking this step to get the warrant, to do the DNA cheek swab, is that unusual? And what is your appraisal of the effort?
Well, it's not unusual. They had an abandonment specimen, which they found at the Kohberger home in Pennsylvania, and that turned out to be a relative. An abandonment specimen means that somebody threw something into the garbage, and it turned out to be it was Bryan's father. And whatever it was that they looked at, it had DNA and had a profile very similar to the profile on the K-bar knife sheath. So they knew it was a relative, and that was very important information. But once a person is arrested, there's going to be a warrant, an order to take a cheek swab. They take a little swab. It's a sterile cotton swab. They roll it around the inside of the cheek several times, and they extract DNA, and they get a wonderful, perfect sample of his DNA, Bryan Kohberger's DNA, and then they make the comparison. Right. This is not indirect. This is very direct. It shows that the DNA on that K-bar knife sheath was his, and that knife sheath was found at the crime scene in Moscow. It was under a comforter and under one of the victims, Megan.
Right. You answered my next question. The idea. You answered my next question, and to Kobylinski's point, they measure the likelihood that it is Kohberger's DNA by a degree of
Right.
the word is octillion. Okay, like billion, trillion, octillion is 8 times that factor. So the chances are overwhelming that it's his. One question of intrigue was, well, maybe somebody planted the sheath. And as Larry just laid out to you, they found it under the body as part of the scene. The idea that it was planted, highly unlikely. The second part, now that we know that it was found under Maddie's body, one of the victims coffined after, the second one is this intrigue that, oh, but they may not have done this the right way in terms of getting the warrants the right way, and that could undercut the prosecution. In terms of going from genealogy to the swab, does this look like they followed the book?
Oh, they followed the book. They went over really what they had to do to collect this specimen. They got that warrant immediately when they went in there. They swabbed him, and that's the way to do it. This way, it's above reproach in terms of the specimen they collected.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can.
Sorry, I was trying to get that gnat, guys. So that's why I had to let it go for a minute longer. So basically, I just wanted to kind of get caught up to what we are getting caught up to today, because new documents did come out that are pretty, I mean, you know, pretty powerful documents. So I'd actually heard that these were coming out earlier today, but I didn't believe it. So I just kind of was like, going to wait till I hear it for myself. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're just reviewing a couple things while we're getting there. So basically that came out on the 20th, those documents dropped. And then by the 23rd, we had, so I feel like, on the 20th, when the documents came out, everybody had like, I feel like a lot of people, even the channels that aren't always like saying, you know, that they think that Kohberger is innocent or that he's guilty, you know, per se. I felt like their channels were kind of like going in that direction. Like they thought that Bryan probably did this crime. And then documents came out on the 23rd. And this time they were from the defense. And it was an objection to the state's motion for protective order. The defense put out documents saying there was a lack of DNA in Kohberger's apartment, car, and office, and that he wasn't connected in any way to the victims, how the knife was placed. They used the word placed under Maddie Mogen, trying to plant like little seeds of doubt, and it worked. They were doing their job, and they literally dropped that like on Friday and was like, peace. Like literally, just like, you know, and we didn't know what the prosecution was going to, we didn't know what the rebuttal was going to be. So we've been waiting kind of like over the weekend just to see what was going to happen. We saw YouTube go into a total frenzy. I did anyway. I was like, oh, good lordy, lordy. The misinformation was moving mountains. It really was. Yes, Melissa, I was reading your chat. I think you can handle a limit. Okay, I can take the limit off. I can take it off. I said, yeah, I said, let me know. Because I don't know if, like, it's too crazy in here or anything. So, it just got a little cray-cray in here the other night. How do I turn it off? Damn it. I'm like, I wasn't in that window. You'd think that I'd be faster at this than I am, but I'm not. How do I not know how to do it? Oh, wait, because I'm in the wrong window. Oh, my lordy. We'll get there. I have to be on the right video, that's why. Let's just take the slow-mo off for now. Now, don't flood the chat, everybody. No. But if you are a member, it won't affect you any. So like you can chat as much as you want. But if you're not a member, it will just that usually when we slow the chat, that's what that means. So. Oh my gosh, I was just thinking about you, Bryan. Let's Talk Live said what an amazing back and forth between the state and the defense over the past few days. State drops DNA evidence, defense counters with rejection of DNA evidence. Yep, and then the state comes back with the DP. Yeah, and then it's a mic drop. Literally. So I got to make a microphone emoji now. But I was thinking of what you said on your live the other night. What was the distance like the octillion, wasn't it like the planet? Yeah, you did it in a way of like, it was last night. You did it in a way of like planets, and that made sense to me. You're like from, I think it was like Earth to Jupiter or something, and I was rolling. I had so much fun last night. I went on a panel over there, so if you didn't check it out, go over to Let's Talk Live podcast and check out the live from last night. I just kind of went on a whim. I was listening, and then I wasn't sleeping, so I was like, might as well. And it was fun. Hope Kohberger doesn't get any sleep tonight after the good news with Flair. I can only, like, so this whole week I was only imagining the back and forth between, him and Anne, because I'm sure that her first, question was like to, Kohberger was when he got her, when she met him, and Solomon was like, did you do this? And he said, oh no, I for sure didn't do this. And she said, well, is your DNA going to be there? No, my DNA is not going to be there. So as soon as the DNA came in, did she go back to him and be like, your DNA's there? And then he was like, well, that's no. And then she comes back and she goes, well, it's like 5.37 octillion. Yeah, so the distance between the sun and Jupiter. I laughed so hard when Bryan said that last night. I literally fell to the ground. I was like, no, he didn't go there. I was like talking about planets because that made sense to me. It made sense. I liked it. It really made sense. I have to highlight that one. Like that, like in my head, I was like, okay, because I could do people in the world, but it gave you a really good visual. So when these ones came out, it said, how they placed the sheaf under Maddie Mogan. They were trying to plant seeds of doubt, like I said. So we're going to go over, I'm just going to show you guys a clip from Court TV, and then we'll get into tonight's documents too, and what people were saying about today's stuff. Because they had a hearing on a couple things, like the family speaking and stuff, I believe also. So I'm going to go ahead and play her. I love this girl. I don't even know who she is. I forget her name, but she's cute. Cute as a button. Okay, and I'll be in the chat too, and I'll probably pause it like a little bit just so, fair use, so they don't get me.
This hour in the state of Idaho, where Bryan Kohberger's defense team is pushing back and pushing back hard, let me tell you, against DNA evidence that allegedly places him at the scene of that quadruple homicide. Now, the state of Idaho has revealed through court documents that Bryan Kohberger is a statistical match to DNA recovered from the knife sheath found at the scene of the crime, saying in part, quote, we already knew that Kohberger's father was linked to the knife sheath. The FBI further compared DNA from the sheath to a cheek swab of the defendant and determined it was a match. Now, Kohberger's attorneys are responding to the claims, accusing the state of Idaho of hiding its entire case. And there's more. And they're rejecting the notion that they are expected to just accept at face value that the sheath contained touch DNA belonging to Bryan Kohberger. So the defense team goes on to say, quote, there's no connection between Mr. Kohberger and the victims. There is no explanation for the total lack of DNA evidence from the victims in Mr. Kohberger's apartment, in his office, in his home, or his vehicle. There's no doubt this knife sheath is going to play a pivotal role, my Cordy friends, when this case goes to trial. The Gonsalves family attorney, Shannon Gray, who you've seen on Court TV before, spoke about this previously. He talked to us about the importance of the knife sheath to this entire case. Take a listen to what he said.
That was a pretty lengthy probable cause affidavit. It's one of the lengthiest ones I've ever seen. But I think they were very, they wanted to provide as much information as they could to establish probable cause, and it laid out a little bit of the state's case, how they might proceed on the case at trial. But there's a lot of still other circumstantial evidence that will be gathered between now and the trial date. You still have 3 other crime scenes. You have his apartment, you have the car, you have his parents' house that all need to be processed for evidence of the crime, and then any other evidence that comes in between now and then. But the probable cause, I thought that, it was well done. I think the biggest piece of evidence that jumps out to you is the DNA evidence on the sheet. I think that's the one piece of evidence that will be hard to explain as a defense attorney on the case. So I think that's the biggest piece of evidence.
Okay, so Shannon Gray's reaction there. Let me bring in my guest on the program this morning and talk a little bit more about this. In Silver Spring, Maryland, trial attorney Michelle Thomas, and in Washington, D.C., trial attorney and the host of the podcast Mom Life and Law, Megan Whiteside. Good morning to you, ladies. Thanks for being on the show this Monday morning. Okay, first, let me get your quick reactions to what Kohberger's defense team is doing, saying, wait a minute, we're just supposed to accept the state's evidence. Why isn't there DNA anywhere else in the car, in the home, in his office, yada, yada, yada. Michelle Thomas, what do you think about what the defense is saying here, please?
Yeah, good morning, Julie. Good to be with you. So they're doing their job. I mean, yes, they have to make the argument and push back at every possible turn, including DNA evidence. However, the argument is pretty baseless, and I expect it to go nowhere. DNA evidence on the knife sheath is certainly at the crux of the case in terms of linking this defendant to the crime. And so to expect to have that excluded or somehow allege that there's prejudice to the defendant is just really, really a stretch, Julie.
I appreciate it, Michelle. Megan Whiteside, same question to you. Your initial reaction hearing what the defense team is saying, please.
The defense is grasping at straws here because this is going to be the most compelling evidence, I imagine, to a jury in this trial. And what we can expect is that the state is going to argue that this goes to weight and not admissibility. That's a fancy way of saying the defense can attack this evidence through cross-examination of the DNA expert, by bringing their own DNA expert, but really the arguments they're making are not arguments that should persuade a judge to throw this evidence out.
I appreciate it, Megan. I'm just thinking to myself as I hear this, as you ladies so well said, yes, the defense team has to make these arguments. Yes, their concern is representing him, and depending on what the state moves for in terms of seeking the death penalty, this might become a case where they're working to just save his life. We'll see. So they've got to do all this or else they're going to be ineffective. You ladies know there's something, called ineffective assistance of counsel. These claims can be made if you don't make sure you leave no stone unturned, so to speak. And so they've got to attack it. However, when you think about it, and just logically, I'm not even talking as a lawyer, it's like, is Bryan Kohberger the unluckiest guy in the whole world that, his car is seen at their house 12 times, there's messages sent via DM to some of these victims, he's wearing gloves when he's back at his parents' home in Pennsylvania. His DNA happens to be on the sheath at the crime scene between Maddie and Kaylee's bodies. Is he that unlucky? Did somebody take his knife sheath and just decide to drop it there to try to implicate him? Come on. Okay, and let's look at this here. This is from the state's motion, laying out the factual background here, one of their motions, but this was recent one, regarding the DNA, the new developments. And they're talking about how, that knife sheath, is found on a bed next to the bodies of Maddie and Kaylee, best friends, roommates, sleeping in the same bed on that night that they were both murdered. The sheath, found face down, partially underneath Maddie's body, as well as the comforter on the bed. So that's where it was placed. Now, the defense team in their motion has said some other things. They're saying, quote, in part, lab analysts were aware of 2 additional males' DNA within the house where the deceased were located, and another unknown male's DNA on a glove found outside the residence. Further, these 3 separate and distinct male DNA profiles were not identified through CODIS, that's the big national system where you can do legal comparisons, leading to the conclusion that the profiles do not belong to Mr. Kohberger. Okay, so Michelle Thomas, knowing that this house is a party house, that was one of the biggest things we talked about at the outset, how tough it's going to be to sort through that DNA. Knowing that, what do you think when you read the paragraph we just showed about what the defense team is saying? Other men's DNA is around and you guys aren't looking at it. Why do you think that is, that the state isn't focused on it?
Yeah, because there's too much other circumstantial evidence that points in the direction of Mr. Kohberger. So it doesn't explain, to your point, why his car was outside of their home at least 12 times near the time of the crime. The behaviors we saw him on video, having been stopped by the cop those 2 additional times, the searches that occurred at their home in Pennsylvania. And I mean, there's just too much here that links this particular defendant. And so the state is not going to go down this rabbit hole that the defense would have them and this alternative culprit theory, because it really doesn't make any sense. His DNA was on the knife sheath. The knife was used as part of the crime. And so all roads still point to in the direction of Mr. Kohberger.
Right, Michelle. I mean, the driving of the car, you know, to me, that's like some of the most damaging evidence. They're concerned about the DNA. Megan Whiteside, how about how they've got him? They've got his route all mapped out, excuse me, you know, how he goes to the house, middle of the night. He's there in the window that these homicides were committed, according to his car's, you know, the black box in there that has the GPS, and they show the route he goes all around, maybe to dispose of the knife. I don't know. Prosecutors are going to say it. Megan, what do you think about the defense saying that, you didn't look at this other male DNA?
The defense's job is to find an argument and some evidence to back it up that can go to support reasonable doubt. The standard in a criminal case is beyond a reasonable doubt. And so the defense has got to do their best to try to create some argument that the jury would be convinced, okay, this is reasonable doubt. The government did not investigate these other sources of DNA. But I think what you pointed to in terms of this is a house next to a college campus. They have parties there. We would expect to find multiple DNA sources from individuals not living within the home. That's just to be expected. And really a coincidence upon a coincidence upon a coincidence for Mr. Kohberger is no coincidence here. I think the government has a really strong case.
Perfect note to end on. Megan Whiteside, thank you for that. Yeah, this guy, he's the unluckiest guy in the world, isn't he? All this just happening to him. We're going to continue talking about this. By the way, Kohberger's got a big hearing on Tuesday. Some of these motions are going to be hashed out. We're, of course, going to be there for that hearing. We're going to talk more about it. The cameras still allowed in at this point. So very good thing for all of you who've been wondering. You know, Kohberger wants to keep him out. Of course, Court TV wants him in so we can bring you this trial.
Sorry, I was trying to fix that because someone in the chat was telling me to fix one of my things, and then I think I messed it up even more. So if it does mess up, I'll have to fix it again. But thank you for that. I appreciate that. I'm new to this still, it seems like. Let's see. Ashley, where have you been? We were wondering where you were last night. But anyways, thank you guys for joining us. Ashley's like, man, you put me on the spot there. Thank you for joining me this evening. We are getting ready to get into the documents that came out today. We were just kind of going back a little bit over the documents that came out last week, because there was a lot of stuff that was brought forth that we didn't know before. You know, DNA that was direct match to Kohberger. You know, the other DNA that they found. I'm assuming, okay, if there's other DNA that's there, you would think the state would have tested that. But I don't know how, if the defense is allowed to, like, not like lie, but like kind of say that in a document, say that like they didn't test it. Because you would think that they would. And then you would think that they probably matched it up to a friend or a boyfriend. I mean, you know, people, we don't know what kind of DNA it was, you know what I mean? Like, that was found, so you never know. But, oh my gosh, the speculation's been thick, Mindy. I can't even watch a lot of stuff. I get so crazy when I do, so I just try not to. Let me go ahead and bring up, yeah, I did. I got off of the main site, but I have all the documents up. Not very smart. I wanted to see if they actually, I want to refresh the page and make sure that there's not any more, that we're not missing any. Because that happens sometimes. We'll get on here, because by the time we get on tonight, so basically, let me give you guys a rundown of how this is probably going to work for cameras and trial, or leading up to trial, or whatever. So what I'm thinking is they're probably going to they're allowing cameras as of right now, and what I'm thinking is we're going to probably get that. It's probably not going to be a live feed, because we haven't had a live feed before. I think it's going to be after court for the day. So if you are in the Eastern Standard Time zone like me, it's going to be a 3-hour difference. So by the time they're done with court at 5 o'clock, they're probably going to have to review the tapes, then give them to Court TV for them to release. So it'll probably be about 8:15, I would say, like our time, by the time we would get those. So just to let you know, pitch a tent, get a fire started, get some marshmallows, because we're going to be here at night. I guess we'll be sleeping during the day. I don't know. But I figured I'd give you guys the rundown if you're wondering about cameras and stuff, because I'm assuming that it's not going to be a live feed. That's just what I'm assuming, because he is letting us have they're letting us have the cameras, so, which is good. Also, all of the information that I'm going to talk about tonight, I got off the State of Idaho Judicial Branch. So you guys can go on that website. You can get on there. You can look at all of the court filings for Bryan Kohberger or for anybody for the state of Idaho. We're just here interested in him. So the last one that we went over was the revised amended order. Okay. Just want to make sure I don't forget anything. Let me blow this up. Oh, that's a little too much. So a lot of these are just like super short, just legalities, I guess you would say. I'm just going to read through these, and then the one that towards the end, there's a couple, but the one towards the end is the one that we're kind of looking for. So this one is motion to file defense's counsel, first sworn statement of facts in support of motion to stay proceedings under seal. And so I'm going to read this, and then I have a question for you guys. So it says, comes now Bryan C. Kohberger, so by and through his attorney, Ann C. Taylor, public defender, and hereby moves the court for an order to file defense counsel's first sworn statement of facts in support of motion to stay proceedings under seal. This motion is pursuant to ICAR 32 on the grounds that it refers to matters previously sealed by order of the court. So, do you guys know what, does that mean that he's going to give it, a deposition, a statement of some sort? What do you guys think? Oh, thanks, Elisa. Someone says someone's framing him. Oh no. I don't think any. That would be that would be a really good spot to put DNA to frame somebody. But Bryan's supposed to be the criminal mastermind, I thought. We got to remember that, guys, because remember everyone was saying that. So it says on here, it says that that hereby moves the court for an order to file defendant's counsel's first sworn statement of facts in support of motion to stay proceedings. I'm not sure. That's what I said, like a deposition. Okay. So it's going to be, he's going to do a deposition is what he's saying. That's what I thought it was saying. Wonder what he wants to say. Huh. Wonder what he's got to say. I want to know. To be a fly on that wall. For real. I'd probably pay good money for that. So this one, I don't want to miss any, so. I don't understand why they have to make the titles of these so long. Okay. Let me blow this up for you guys here. So this one is one of the next documents that come out. It says order granting motion to intervene for limited purpose. On May 1st, 2023, a coalition of 20 media outlets, the Associated Press, filed a motion to intervene and a motion to vacate the amended non-dissemination order. Oral argument was heard on June 9th, 2023. The state was represented by William W. Thompson Jr. and Bradley J. Rudley. Latah County Prosecutor's Office. Defendant was represented by Ann C. Taylor and J.W. Lawston, Kootenai County Public Defender's Office. The Associated Press was represented by Wendy Olson and Corey Carone. And then it shows like all of the news outlets here. The parties had no objection to the motion to intervene for the limited purpose of challenging the amended non-dissemination order. Thus, the motion to intervene is granted for the limited purpose of allowing the Associated Press to challenge the amended non-dissemination order. I guess they're still in talks about what they can talk about, what they shouldn't be talking about. So, let me see. I want to make sure that these are like almost the same. So, all of this is going to say that the same exact as the other one, but this one's an order granting motion to take judicial notice of press coverage. And it says that on May 1st, 2023, a coalition of 20 media outlets, the Associated Press, filed a motion to intervene and a motion to vacate the amended non-dissemination order. In opposition to the motion to vacate the amended non-dissemination order, defendant Bryan C. Kohberger filed a motion to take judicial notice of press coverage. Oral argument was heard on June 9th, 2023. The state was represented by William W. Thompson Jr., and Bradley J. Rudley, Latah County's prosecutor office. Defendant was represented by Ann C. Taylor and J.W. Longston, Kootenai County Public Defender's Office. The Associated Press was represented by Wendy Olson and Corey Carone. And then, like I said earlier, these are just all of the media outlets that are in with the Associated Press that are trying to, get this order. It says, for the reasons articulated for the record, defendant's motion to take judicial notice of press coverage is granted. So they're allowing them to take, they're allowing cameras and all of that. I think that's what that means, all that. And they're allowing probably some still shots maybe, and they're allowing people to report on it. I'm going to grab a drink and just look at the chat real quick. Or grab my drink, because I don't even have to go anywhere right now. They're not going to lift the gag order completely now. I think kind of what it is, I think what it is with Bryan, if he did this, allegedly, supposedly, and it's just really hard to get around that knife sheath. I mean, someone planted his DNA there, that's really hard to believe. Like, we've seen interviews with people that had known him, and he didn't really have a whole lot of friends. Not to be mean or anything, but I mean, he didn't. So, and I think he liked it that way. So I think that, for him to be like, I think he was like an introvert in a way. I mean, I'm an introvert as hell. I don't like being around people other than y'all. And, this is as close as we get. But you know what I mean? I feel like that he was like that. It would be hard for someone to grab, a knife sheath and then get his, if it is a skin cells, then, it would be, that would be just really hard, I would think. I don't know. If it was maybe blood or a bodily fluid, maybe a little easier. Not like, I don't think that would even, maybe not bodily fluid, but that might be easier, but not. And how would they get it? Like, I mean, I just don't understand, like, when people say that. I was trying to read that out, because someone came in and said someone else is saying that. So tomorrow is not the start of the trial. No. So the trial date is October the 2nd as of right now. But I think that it might, I hope it's not pushed, but it might be pushed because they keep asking for stay. So that was my question to you guys too. And I think we'll actually go over it, but if they file for a stay of proceedings and the defense is granted a stay of proceedings, and this was my question prior to the new documents kind of coming out, would that stop the clock for the death penalty? because these were filed on the 23rd. So I'm wondering if he was like, I'll do a deposition just to, you know, just to say it. Kathy, I don't have a lot of friends, but that doesn't mean I'm going to use a K-bar on people. Well, you got 200 of them right here, girl. That was funny. And this defendant, okay, so in the defendant too, someone said today that he was really skinny and scrappy and like that. And no, he's a runner. The dude's got, he's definitely built. In my opinion, you have endurance to be a runner, to run like long, and he ran distance too, like miles. A friend came out of his that lived by him or went to school with him, and they stated that. So that's not, that's a factual thing because that's a friend, that came out and said that. But so yeah, he did go to the pool party, Vivi, and then that's the only time I ever heard of him that time. And then when he saw the guy a month later, he was like talking to him. Those are the only two experiences I've seen where Kohberger was like being the one that was like talkative. The guy that lived at the apartment there, his dad kind of like hooked them up to be friends. The guy that knew him downstairs, they didn't really know each other. They just knew each other from him making noise and stuff. So it's just a little insane what's been going on. Yeah, I heard he was into kickboxing too, Judy. Yeah. A lot of strength, control. Yeah, a lot of control. And a lot of strength. I mean, to run, like I used to be a runner, and to get your breathing down and get, that, to be able to run long distance like that, it takes a lot. It really does. Let me go back up so I can see which one this is. Because some of these came out, they say the 23rd, but they came out today. Like, I'm just picking up where we left off the other day, because that's where the documents ended. Okay, let's see. These ones are they're all real short too. So this one here is motion to temporarily seal Exhibit A of the proposed order for preparation and release of transcript and record of grand jury proceedings with conditions. Okay, so temporarily seal Exhibit A of the proposed order for preparation and release of transcripts and record of grand jury proceedings with conditions. The state of Idaho, by and through the Latah County prosecuting attorney, respectfully moves the court pursuant to Idaho Court Administrative Rule 32, Idaho Criminal Rule 6, and Idaho Code 19-1112 and 74-124 for a temporary order sealing Exhibit A attached to the order for preparation and release of transcript and record of grand jury proceedings with conditions herein to protect the confidentiality of the grand jury, and because release or disclosure would interfere with law enforcement proceedings, deprive a person of a right to a fair trial or an impartial adjudication, constitute an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy, disclose the identity of a confidential source, and or disclose investigative techniques and procedures. The state seeks this protection pending a hearing on this matter. Wherefore, the state respectfully prays that the court seal from public disclosure Exhibit A attached to the order for preparation and release of transcript and record of grand jury proceedings with conditions herein under the provisions of Idaho Court Administrative Rule 32, Idaho Criminal Rule 6, and Idaho Code 19-1112 and 74-124. Respectfully submitted, 23rd. I feel like I need to get, does the state of Idaho just have like a law book, state of Idaho law book? Because if they do, I just need it. We've got enough people out there committing crimes. Wizard. I hate running. Where'd the comment go? Okay. The chat jumped. I hate running unless it's my mouth. That's all. That's the only thing I can run now is my mouth. Too much metal. Oh, there's that. Sorry, guys. I thought I got that gnat earlier, but it came back. It goes dormant. I swear it does. I don't know where it came from. Who you guys looking for? I see Melissa. No, Steve, you've been cloned. Yeah, 6 foot 180. That's what I heard too. This gnat, sorry guys. I'm not gonna get it. I'm just gonna make a lot of noise. I don't want to bother you guys. But man, this little sucker's getting me. Yeah, and we don't protect, sorry, we don't protect gnats around here. We just don't. It's coming for me, I swear. I swear. Let me see. I'm just reading the chat for a minute. Thanks, Mom, for smacking the nets, too. That's what you gotta do sometimes. Let's see. I watched an interview from a guy who was friends with Kay in high school, and he said he used to get girls all the time. He had no issues with girls, and he was actually popular. I heard the opposite, Emily. That's weird. Where'd you hear that? Because we heard that he had a crush on a girl, and she didn't like him back. And then we heard that he was awkward and like kind of big in school. That's when he lost all the weight. But, you know. But man, yeah. Email that to me. That's what's up. We'd love to see the other side of Kohberger, you know. So, that's the end of that one. Let's go back. And then I have to keep going to the top because I keep forgetting which one I'm on. Look at how long these damn titles are for these documents. Are they trying to have a contest on like who has the longest document name? Because I swear they're neck and neck right now. Okay, that's that one. Okay. This one is order to file defense counsel's first sworn statement of facts in support of motion to stay proceedings under seal. It says the court having before it the defendant's motion to file defense counsel's first sworn statement of facts in support of motion to stay proceedings under seal and good cause appearing now. It is hereby ordered that the defense counsel's first sworn statement of facts in support of motion to stay proceedings shall be filed under seal pursuant to ICAR 32. So that means we don't get it here. That's what that means. That makes me sad. I like to hear things. Mindy, that's the best answer that you could say for Brent. Brent who? That's exactly what we want to hear you say. Brent was brought into this mess, Mindy, and he shouldn't have been. So I had to go back up to see who realized who said it. So yeah, Brooklyn, she's respectful of him. But yeah, he's in my opinion. I mean, that's my opinion. So that's my yeah, yeah, exactly. We have no idea who that is over here. And you know, it should be that way. And hopefully, you know, one of these days we could stop talking about Kohberger and talk about someone else. Maybe back to the victims, you know. But we all know at the end we will make sure we do something for them. So this one's this is what I don't get. Like I don't get like some of the I don't get some of the documents when they say like they need more time, but then they want like a stay, but then they want, you know, things to go a little faster. I don't get it. So it says order to shorten time. The court having received the motion to shorten time and good cause appearing, now therefore it is hereby ordered that the defendant's motion to shorten time to hear the defendant's third motion to compel is granted. So I wonder what he's looking for. I guess he's... because that's what he's been putting in for is more evidence. Do you think he's trying to get more evidence because like he is just like, oh crap, I'm screwed? Or is there something particular that he's looking for? Or is he totally innocent and he's like, what is going on with life? I need to look at all the evidence because what are they got me here on? You know, I'm just trying to think of it every way. Yeah, Judy, he was, yeah. Xanapalooza, July 5th, yes. If you didn't see the post on my community tab, make sure you check it out. Because it's going to be a good day. We're going to make sure. It's going to be all about her. I'm putting together a video and stuff, so I'm trying to get some pictures and things that I haven't been seen, you know. But all the ones that have been seen are just as pretty. So I just want to get some that you guys like, so like you guys will be like, you know, oh my gosh, I haven't seen this before. Like some maybe when she was like younger or something, like little. So this one is the last one. This one's the best one, I guess. Is save the best for last. They also, let me actually, I swear we read this, but before I read this one, I wanted to see something really quick. I thought that I saw something on here that I wanted to show you guys. I thought that they had a ruling that they did. So I know that they had a ruling also that the Gonzalez family, like all of the families, they're allowed to talk with the media. They had like an amended gag, like a non-dissemination order. The judge said that he is still, they're allowed to talk to media with stipulations. And I'm sure that, you know, they just can't go out and say exactly what happened. Because I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I feel like the family members, they know a little bit more than what we know. I would love to turn my camera on, but I swear this gnat's driving me nuts. You guys will think I'm going crazy. I just keep like trying to get it. Oh, burn. Oh, I just have one. I'm about to burn a candle. I have a candle right beside me. I don't know. He goes dormant. It is PKC lavender. Okie dokie. We can do lavender. I was going to guess. So I was going to guess like an orange, like a burnt orange, because for some reason I've seen her in that color in like 4 or 5 pictures. And I'm like, she looks really good in that color. She must have knew it. Oh, what's your theory? I have to go back up. Oh, she was. Yeah. So was my mom. But then it was a cancer. I think he used the shower curtain to cover his car seats. That's what a lot of people have been saying, Simpson. So yeah, definitely. I mean, if we're meant to believe that he is like this criminologist, mastermind, studied murders. And at DeSales University, they actually have like a murder house that's set up where you go in and you solve these crimes, and that's part of your like study. So he wasn't just studying like me when I went to school for criminal justice and I got my bachelor's. Like we studied things online. It was nothing hands-on. Like I had a DNA kit or a fingerprint kit, but I never had to use it. I don't know why they even gave that to me, but I never had to use it. So like with him, it's like completely opposite. He was very hands-on. So I feel like him leaving the sheath, like even though it's such a big thing to do, I feel like it was bound to happen. Like something was bound to happen. I mean, I think he planned his car to be really clean. I don't know how he got rid of all of the blood evidence unless he was wearing like booties and he switched them out. You know, you guys said shower curtain around the seat. Also, like you could put, plastic bags down, like put them over your seats, like a trash bag, rip a hole from where the seat headrest could be and then put something over that. You could put like a hairnet over that. I don't know why I'm thinking of this on the fly, but I am. Don't write this stuff down, guys. Don't take my advice. But you know what I mean. Like it's easy to kind of think to do that. And then they could have found a chemical reaction. I don't know for sure that they didn't find a chemical reaction, and that's why it's saying lack of DNA. Because maybe there is a lack of DNA in the house, the car, and the office. But maybe in the house and the car, maybe not the office so much, but maybe in the house and the car, he definitely, maybe he did have something there. And it was chemical reaction. So from him, like, cleaning with bleach or a chemical reaction, or chemical agent, sorry. And they'll be able to tell when they use their, luminol, their blue star. When you put that on blood, it'll illuminate a certain way. But when you put that on to a cleaning agent, it shines a different way. And they're really good at knowing the difference. So. And he could have thrown that thing away anywhere too. So today we got news. I'll read through this, but basically what this is going to say is we got news today that the state is seeking the death penalty for Bryan Christopher Kohberger. Point blank, period. As of right now, like they can always take it off the table. You know, they can always take it off the table. But as of right now, they're saying they have to have more evidence than what we know of, and I know that they do. I know that. There's no way that they're just letting this dude sit there in jail for this long, only on some little bit of, you know what I mean? I know it's not just a little bit of DNA, but some DNA and like some phone pings. I'm assuming that they have a lot more if they're going to be putting the DP on the table like that. I mean, that's the DP. Like, I mean, they didn't even do that to Lori. You know, like, I mean, they had every opportunity. Why didn't they do that with her? Let me know, Teresa. Teresa knows that case good. Oh, my Lord. Yes. Mindy, if there is another, yeah, like in the Stout case, the investigator could tell where the blood splatters were. Yes. And then you remind me when you talk about the Stout case, that reminds me of their expert witness that they had. I can't put any credit in an expert witness as of right now. Me too, Truth and Justice Matters. Like, I was elated too. I'm not going to lie. Like, I was like, oh, Christmas came early in the form of Santa Claus, Mr. Bill Thompson. Like, you know, really, I feel like because on Friday, we were left like, what is going on in the world right now? Like, because we weren't expecting to hear anything new. And then we were hearing all this new stuff throughout the whole week. And then Friday, it was like, what? And then a lot of people, instead of hearing like lack of blood, they were saying no blood. So we were fighting through that all weekend, you know, trying to get people to really, you know, because there's a little bit of a difference. So, oh, hey, Lynn. Oh, I'm so glad. We got a new subscriber. Oh, I love that. I just happened to be looking down at the chat too. Good call. I was just getting ready to read. They waited too long to give all the evidence in the Vallow trial. Thank you, Susie Blue. All the DNA. Oh, there's several Vallow cases. Then DP was off last minute. Oh, thanks, Teresa. I knew Teresa would know that too. Never piss off Santa Claus. Yeah, he was like, and I told Vincent, like, I said, there's going to come a time when I'll have to turn my camera on for this. Okay. There's going to come a time where, like, let me grab this thing. Well, you can see it from here, I think. But it's a white, blue, like, I forget what it's called, blue, maybe it's a Yeti. I don't know, it's a microphone. But I said, there's going to be come a time that I'm going to be holding that over my head and I'm just going to drop it. And I felt like today was going to be the day, but I don't want to break it. It's still really new, even though I use this one because it's a lot better, but for me anyway. But yeah, no, like, I swear they came back and they was just like, they did the biggest mic drop. And then they were like, that was all the documents for today too. So let's read through this one because this is the best one. So it says, State of Idaho versus Bryan Kohberger. Notice pursuant to Idaho Code 18-4004A. Comes now the state of Idaho by and through, let me blow it up just a little bit more. By and through the Latah County prosecuting attorney, and hereby gives notice to the court, the defendant and his counsel, pursuant to Idaho Code 18-404A, that as of this point in time and based on the information known to the state to date, so this isn't anything that they're waiting on, this is all the stuff that they have to date, the following statutory aggravating circumstances pursuant to Idaho Code 19-25159 appear to exist in this case as to the crimes of murder in the first degree as charged in counts 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the indictment. I'm gonna grab my drink really quick. And if you guys wouldn't mind just taking a second to like the video, it really helps. You guys have really liked this video tonight. I just realized how many likes we have. I'll have to refresh that. Oh my gosh, you guys are amazing. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. I really do. It says, Idaho Code 19-25159B At the time the murder was committed, I'm gonna say M because we're gonna be saying that word a lot, and I don't want to get dinged by YouTube, so I'm just gonna say M in the place of the word. So at the time of the M was committed, the defendant also committed another M and it says Idaho Code, the murder was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel, manifesting exceptional depravity, and it says Idaho Code and has like the code numbers. By the number or circumstances surrounding its commission, the defendant exhibited utter disregard for human life. The murder was committed in the perpetration of or attempt to perpetrate arson, rape, robbery, burglary, kidnapping, or mayhem, and the defendant unalived intended a unaliving or acted with reckless indifference to human life. The defendant, number 5, the defendant by his consent or conduct, whether such conduct was before, during, or after the commission of the M at hand, has exhibited a propensity to commit M, which will probably constitute a continuing threat to society. Okay. The state gives this notice based on the fact that it is not identified or been provided with any mitigating circumstances sufficient to prohibit the tiers of fact from considering all penalties authorized by the Idaho legislator, including the possibility of a capital sentence. Consequently, considering all evidence currently known to the state is compelled to file this notice of intent to seek the death penalty. The state will continue to review additional information as it's received and reserves its statutory right to amend or withdraw this notice. And that was signed today. Oh, I couldn't imagine his family, Kohberger's family, too. I mean, all of them are victims. We heard that his dad was crying in court and his mom was like inconsolable. I couldn't imagine. Could you imagine if even if you had an inkling that your child, like say like if he did this and everything, because we're allegedly, but like just think of it. If you're at home, you're sleeping, you have your kids there, because like his sisters were there, like like around Christmas time, they were all there celebrating together. So I don't know if they were still there or if they had went home, but they had, family had been there. They were all having a good time. The parents were probably relaxed. Maybe they knew something was up because, that Dateline episode, we don't know for sure, but they might have known something was up, but not to this extent, I don't believe. I don't think that they ever thought that their windows would be busted out of their home and they would have so many federal agents and U.S. Marshals combing their house screaming, "Where's your kid?" We don't want you, we want Bryan C. Kohberger. My lordy, I couldn't imagine. But I do think it's going to be one of these things where his parents probably maybe knew, growing up. Have you seen that show? I bring it up a lot, that See No Evil, where the parents, they know something's up and they try to help their kid, but they just have a bad egg. I feel like that if it's him, that would fall in that category. I feel like his, you know what I mean? I feel like it would just be, you would think about this too much or something. I don't know. You would think anyway. I don't know. You have a feeling this wasn't the killer's first rodeo, though? You think so? I don't know. I don't know really what I think about that. Because they haven't linked anything to him, but that doesn't mean that he hasn't done anything. What's going on, Summer? Did I miss something? I think he's considered a spree killer. Yeah, a spree killer, a mass. Well, it's a mass killer, mass killing. Yeah, and Steve Thinker said it. Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, there was Olivia, too, up there. I didn't see it. Jersey Mike's. I had, actually, Subway a little bit earlier. Not all of it. I just was I was just I'll just have a bite, and then I ate, half the sandwich. Oh, Mindy, I'll keep that in mind for sure. So, Brooklyn, one of my favorite quotes, and it's a personal quote. I mean, because I have one eye, and that's why I say it. But there's a quote, and it says, "An eye for an eye would make the whole world blind." And meaning, like, we all have something, like, if we're all going after each other for something, like, none of us are gonna be able to see. Like, we're all for an eye for an eye. Does that make sense? I think it's actually might be on my Facebook or something under, like, my quotes, but, you know. And I think this, oh yeah, for sure, Wizard Walt. And I don't think that they thought he was going to do anything like this. That's not what I'm saying. I hope that no one takes it like that. I think that maybe as parents, they may think, like, not capable of this, but just kind of like, I think they were probably like, oh my gosh, he's doing good. He's going out to Washington. He's going to be a PhD student. I think they were kind of relaxing. Like, they were probably like, oh wow, like, he wants to go away, you know? And then this happened, you know, but like, you know, with the death penalty, I was talking with Vincent today about it. I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I really don't. Like, I really don't. I really was like for the death penalty, but then when I'm thinking about it, I don't know how I feel about it yet. So maybe by the, you know, time that, I'm not saying this case, not saying Bryan, I'm saying in general. Because I told Vincent, if someone were to hurt him, I'd want blood. In an instant, you know, I would want it. But if I had to take my emotion out of it, I don't know how I would feel, you know, but these kids this is the thing that gets me. This is what gets me. And this is why I feel like the death penalty is good though, for this case. One being, this was a crime that happened to people that were sleeping unexpectedly, doing nothing wrong inside of their own home. He entered into that property to commit that crime, you know, you can't get around that. Yeah, and everyone has like their own like opinion on it, you know. I'm just kind of up in the air right now about it, like yeah, I mean, like with kids and stuff, like the child Doberman, like I don't know, and like that, you know, those things, they get my heartstrings. But I feel like then if you do the DP, the families, I heard, they have to deal with the inmates like for a long time because there's a lot of appeals, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. I heard that if they just get like locked up for the rest of their life, like they don't deal with them as much. So I don't know, whichever is good for the families, I guess, because, you know. No, the state doesn't put DP on for nothing. They have to have, they have a gold mine. They have to have something that we don't have. Like a lot of things that we don't have, because they wouldn't just do that. Let me see. Okay. Let's see. Where was we? Oh, I was going to show you a video that came out. This is the one that I think that changes the gag order. Yeah. Okay. So this is what I was talking about actually earlier. So let me play
New developments in the case of Bryan Kohberger.
Sorry,
the
guys.
presiding judge is making changes to the gag order. You will remember it barred almost everyone from talking about the case before. Well, under this new gag order issued now, prosecution and defense attorneys can now speak on some matters related to the case, but they must still follow strict guidelines to preserve Kohberger's right to a fair trial. Now, Kohberger is accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho college students last year. He is facing first-degree murder and burglary charges in connection with their stabbing deaths. And the changes come as prosecutors announced that Kohberger's DNA is a statistical match with the DNA that was found on the knife sheath that was left at the crime scene. Joining us now to get more perspective, Jesse Weber, News Nation legal contributor. Jesse, it's good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about that new DNA evidence indicating Kohberger is a match for the DNA that was found on that sheath at the murder scene. The defense claiming that they are unaware of this. Does that strike you as strange? Because aren't they entitled to all of this information?
Look, the defense is doing and saying what we expected them to do, right? They are facing an uphill battle with this monumental development. And you couple that with the surveillance footage, you couple that with the cell phone evidence, and they are making a good point because they're saying that the prosecution is keeping information away from them. And at the end of the day, that's a legal argument. It'll be up to the judge to determine whether or not the prosecution has to turn over more materials to the defense. But we have to be clear about what they're doing here. They are actually previewing what their defense is going to be. Well, how exactly did law enforcement get this material? Did they do anything improper? Did they really have probable cause? Because the best case scenario for them would be to make sure this evidence doesn't come into trial if law enforcement did something improper. And two, if it does come in, they're saying, well, how accurate is it? We have a right to understand the science behind this and understand how it was obtained. And we'll call our own experts and ask our own questions about how reliable genetic genealogy is, because that's the key right now to the prosecution's case.
Okay, I appreciate that insight. And you know, we're hearing that prosecutors are consulting the victims' families on the death penalty. And so far, Xana's mother favors life in prison. Meanwhile, Kaylee and Madison's family members, they are seeking the death penalty. First of all, how common is it for the prosecution to get the family's input? And what does happen when the families are not in agreement?
It's incredibly common. And look, really what the prosecutors have to do is say they respect what the family wants, but it's really in the pursuit of justice and in their own public interest. And sometimes there's political reasons. They decide whether to go forward with the death penalty or not. Now, in this kind of case, there are a number of different considerations. And you also have to imagine the death penalty phase, if he's ultimately convicted, that's almost like a separate trial. So there's more expense, there's more time. You also have to consider the family members, what that's going to do for them to see this aspect and they having to testify during that. But if you had a death penalty case, this feels like the one in Idaho. I mean, the death penalty is on the books for this kind of case. It's a horrific quadruple homicide. It's incredibly high profile, young victims, savage nature of it. So I wouldn't be surprised if prosecutors decide to move forward with the ultimate punishment.
I do want to talk quickly about this modified gag order now. What kind of information do you expect we will now be able to hear going forward?
Not much. Basically, the attorneys in the case, like the prosecutors, the defense attorneys, the attorneys that are representing victims, they can talk a little bit about the case, but kind of bare bones, like the scheduling of the trial or what are the nature of the charges. They are allowed to make statements to correct the record if there's some sort of really bad misinformation coming out. But that's it. They can't talk about anything that's going to materially prejudice the case. They can't talk about the evidence. They can't talk about evidence that's not going to be in the case. They can't talk about a plea deal. So I don't really think at this point we're going to learn anything major from the attorneys, but it is for our news organizations a little bit of a win because they can speak a bit more than they were previously not allowed to.
Okay, I appreciate that. We're looking at this new court filing from Kohberger's attorney saying that there is no connection between his client and the 4 students who were murdered. How can he say that when he supposedly followed all 3 of the female victims on Instagram?
It's a little bit of a play on words. Do they mean to say that he had no connection? He was a complete stranger, because that may very well be the case. But to say he had no connection at this point, I wonder if that's a bit disingenuous, particularly since it's my understanding we don't know the complete evidence from the prosecution. For example, they found blood on different items in Kohberger's apartment or house. And so we don't know who that tested positive for.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.
Okay, I wanted to show you guys this one too, but and then I was gonna look up. So I wonder what time is it? Let's see. It's 9:38. I wonder what old Banfield's gonna say tonight. Do you think she dressed up for the occasion? Do you think she's maybe wearing a bright white blouse tonight? Because I think maybe missed info. What I missed, just kidding. She's like, just kidding. I was lurking in the chat. I know what's going on. That's me anyway. Yeah, I don't know. So they're going after the DP. That's the newest news. I remember Banfield coming out with a video not too long ago, maybe a couple weeks ago, saying that they had like 27 they had like 27 more days or something like that. So they definitely filed it before the deadline. So that to me says a lot. Miss Banfield is here for the mess. Oh my gosh, Brooklyn, she really is. I'm wearing black today for it. I'm wearing black. I was actually going to wear a dress and it didn't fit. I'm going to turn my camera back off. But yeah, I was going to wear a dress today, but then, like I said, it didn't fit me. I was mad. I guess last year I was a little bit smaller. So I'll look that up if we're still on the live when Banfield comes on at 10, but I should go ahead and show you guys this video. This was on King 5 today, just going over them seeking the death penalty. So it's only a couple minutes long. Oh, let me turn it up.
Where prosecutors have filed to seek the death penalty against the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jessica Janner Castro.
I'm Steve Solis. This comes as Bryan Kohberger is set to appear tomorrow in court to fight the grand jury indictment in this case. King 5's Joyce Taylor is in the newsroom now with what we know so far. Joyce.
Steve, Jess, late this afternoon, the Latah County Prosecutor's Office filed court documents saying it will seek the death penalty. Prosecutors say that decision is based on current evidence against Bryan Kohberger. He is charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of Madison Mogen, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, who, as you know, was from the Mount Vernon area. The murders happened in November in a house just off the University of Idaho campus in Moscow. Now, in order to seek the death penalty in Idaho, prosecutors must show they can prove aggravating factors in this case. In new court documents, the prosecuting attorney wrote that they are seeking the death penalty for several reasons, including the especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel aspects of the crimes. Now, according to legal experts, pursuing the death penalty will slow down the trial process. They also say finding a jury for a capital case could take weeks.
When we're selecting a jury for a capital case, if somebody indicates that they would be unwilling to impose the death penalty, that they're morally opposed to it and couldn't do it, that person wouldn't be qualified to serve on the jury.
In Idaho, the jury must come back with a unanimous decision on the death penalty. Otherwise, the defendant receives an automatic life sentence. A judge previously entered a not guilty plea on Kohberger's behalf as he stood silent at his arraignment. Now, as we mentioned, Bryan Kohberger is expected to be in court tomorrow for a hearing to dispute his grand jury indictment. That is scheduled for 1:30, again, tomorrow in Moscow. His lawyers are also now claiming other male DNA was found at the crime scene. Ahead at 4:30 tonight, we're going to look at those latest claims in the Kohberger case. For now in the newsroom, I'm Joyce Taylor. Back to you.
I'm not sure what we're looking at right now, but that's not what I wanted to show you guys. Yeah, he's 28, Brooklyn. Yeah, he's only 28. So if they want a speedy trial, right, they'll have to start in October because that's the deadline. But I'm assuming that he wouldn't want to start in October. Oh, thank you, Summer. Look at her coming in with a $50 super sticker saying, everyone, please get along. She says she's dying over here. Everyone get along in the chat. I haven't seen anything, but if I do, I'll get you guys because Summer, me and Summer on these YouTube streets, you know, she's got my back. So's Teresa. No, I know all you guys do. It seems like me and Summer are always together in the chats, though. She said, and now I'm poor. And now she's going to have to go do lots more hair. But now I can get my nails done, you know? Thanks. Appreciate that. That's so nice, Summer. That is really, really nice. You're so nice. I just love you, girl. And not to like throw you under the bus, but she sent me a video the other night and I got to hear her voice the other night and I was like, oh my God, I got so excited. She's going to be like, Tanya. But our girl Summer sounds like a Southern belle with a hint of gangsta. It was so funny. I was like, I can hear her voice. Because I don't get to see you guys or hear you guys. So it's just different, you know? I'm going to see if they had put anything else up on any more information while we're chit-chatting. But yeah, I don't get to see you guys. Like when I worked in a store, it was during COVID. So, and like right after COVID. So we were still wearing face masks. So everybody that were coming to my store, I couldn't ever see them. Oh, so why is he able to wear a suit? Okay, so basically, Lynn, like they don't want him to be seen in his jail clothes, because if he's seen in his jail clothes, a lot of times jurors will automatically, or people in general will assume that he's guilty. They'll kind of just put him in that spot because he's already dressed like it and he looks like it, you know, when you got gel in your hair and stuff, you just like if you're a girl, you know, they don't give you proper like hygiene stuff in jail, and like, you know, it's just to get you to where you look like you've been out on the streets, like, you know, at home, and you look a little softened. Now, I will say it did work soften him up a little bit, but they also didn't have the camera directly pointed at him either, and I think that says a lot. Like, you know, they're trying to humanize him, yeah, just like you said, trying to humanize him a little bit. You know, make him just look a little more human. Yeah, and so when they bring him in for court too, so when trial starts, when they bring him in for court, he won't be like shackled and things of that nature. They don't want the jurors to see that, the jurors, as Nancy would say, to see that, to see him in shackles, because that will look like, you know, the same as if he's wearing his prison uniform. Now, you can wear your prison uniform if you want to. Like Letitia Stout, she was down to wear hers. I believe Lori was down to wear hers up until like right before the trial started, and then they changed their mind and they went ahead and they wore street clothes. So, yeah, they definitely softened him up. Let me see what's on. Look at this. We already saw that, so I think that I'll see if there's anything on here. I was gonna check, like, I don't know. We'll check around. I think we saw everything though. Oh, except for, you know, Banfield, when she comes on, she's gonna be loving life. I just have a feeling. Yeah, I think that's kind of what we went over. But we can go over this. We can watch this one again. I mean, it's not like again, but we can watch this one. He did look different, yeah, and he did. He looked like more softened, and I think it's also because I think it's the way that he was, like, they didn't have the camera facing like right at him, do you know? And they did that on purpose. They weren't going to do that. But I think it's because the camera was kind of like to the side, and we didn't see. It's his eyes, and I don't know if that's the way they look, like naturally that's just the way they look, or if they're just like that because it's like he committed a really bad crime. But his eyes just get me feeling kind of funny. And if he didn't do this, his eyes would still, I would find them a little funny. It's just, I don't know if it's the shape of them or what, but it's just the way that he looks. So if you're looking at him dead on, he does look just a little more, like, I don't know, aggressive. Yeah, he's just got some different eyes. Oh, wow. And an attorney for a courthouse escape attempt? Well, they should be putting people in shackles. But I did notice on someone's, well, who was that? I think it was like Jennifer Coffendoff or something, or someone's Twitter. And they were like comparing, you know, the Delphi Richard Allen compared to, you know, the treatment of Bryan Kohberger and the way that they look and everything. And they're like, you're just letting him walk into court. Like, the officers turned the opposite way. He's not even looking at Bryan. And like, there's like a guy with a weapon right there and he's not even looking at him. So I think that whoever it was, I think they got their point across. It's Valdemar putting emptiness in his eyes. Yeah. Yeah, and the mannerisms too. And, you know, and a lot of people say, well, I clench my jaw a lot. Well, no. This is like unnatural. I mean, unless you could just really, I mean, you could see it pumping. It's like a vein or something that goes in there. Someone said he looked like, who was it? It was like Dead on the Rights too. The guy from, was it Christian Bateman? Whatever his name is, Christian Bateman? What's his name? The guy off of like the Psycho movies. Yeah, I wonder if his family did send him a suit. You know, like, I just wonder, I mean, I wish my family would have been out there for me if I was him.
We start with breaking news out of Idaho, where prosecutors.
But yeah, no, I would want my family there. Even if I did something or if I didn't do anything. Christian Bale, that's what it is. I was putting two actors together, wasn't I? What? You got booted? Oh no, I did. I've been getting booted too. Is that what that is? Well, they're probably telling me to shut my mouth. Almost robotic. You're right. Yeah, like there is mannerisms that he does have that are just, and we're looking at them. We're going to notice some stuff. So sorry. I mean, you know, if that was me, I couldn't even imagine what people are saying about me. I'll have to look up who that is. Adam Lanza. Why does that sound so familiar? Oh my Lord have mercy, he does look like him. Is that the guy? Is that the kid from or that's the Sandy Hook guy? Okay, I thought this was another guy. This almost looks like the kid from that one crime with the girl from their high school. I'll have to open image in another time. Is it this guy? I hope that's who it is. He does look like him. It's the eyes. Look, they do have similar eyes. Would you look at that? Wow, they do. Yeah. I thought he was the one that, remember there was the kid that, I can't think of his, why can't I think of these two kids' names? There was two kids, they had knives. Tori was one of their names. But, Jennifer Robb, no, they do. Him and Emma look like they could be related too. They do. Sorry, Emma Bailey, for that, but, you know. But I think that if, like, I don't know. It probably is her looks, but the pictures that they were, like, flashing around, like, you couldn't really tell what she, like, really looked like, I felt like. I felt like when I take pictures outside, I look really random and weird, too. But that's just me. Maybe mania is genetic in that family. Yeah. Like, that's crazy. That's a big... That does look like him. Good lordy. Okay, this isn't the one. Nope. Okay, this is the one that just came out tonight. So I was going to play this one here for you. Oh, my lordy. And and just like that, everybody was good. He does look like Jake Gyllenhaal a little bit. Except for Jake's cuter, I would say. But, you know. Like, Bryan's not a bad-looking dude, I don't think. I don't think he's a bad-looking guy. I mean, it's just the eyes. Like, if you look at him from the side, not so spooky. But then looks at you. I would jump. I actually jumped one night because somebody came in the chat and their name was like Bryan's innocent or something. I don't know. Bryan Kohberger's innocent. But I didn't look at the picture until I pulled it up and like made it big, like, you know, ET's like up here right now. So when I did that, I was like, whoa, I jumped because it was a picture of Bryan Kohberger. And I wasn't expecting to see that. I was like, ugh. Not my man Jake, no. People came out with that and they did resemble each other a little bit. And I think if it wasn't for like the nose or the eyes, it's just like something in the body, but like something in the face does look resemble, but no, I'm a big Jake Gyllenhaal fan. Exactly, said Parker. Hey, Kelly D. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll finish after we watch this video, but we'll watch this because this was the newest one that they had on there. And as we're watching this, I'll just turn my TV on just to see what it says.
One, but two big breaks in the Bryan Kohberger case. The first one we'd been waiting for. Prosecutors say, yes, this requires the death penalty. Now, that creates a very high burden for them that we'll discuss. There's also newly released DNA evidence, which shows no DNA from any of the 4 murder victims that was found in Kohberger's home or car. Does that matter? And if so, why? Now, that's going to be a finesse point. So let's talk to the practitioners, the better minds. High-profile defense attorney Mark Geragos, Florida State Prosecutor Dave Aronberg, and forensics analyst and professor emeritus at the John Jay College of Criminal Science, Dr. Larry Kobylinski. Larry, I'm going to start with you because I want to set the table for what we expect and what we don't before the arguments are made off the same. One, going for the death penalty means you better have your case airtight. Prosecutors getting beat up for not giving enough information to the defense, which is being perceived as maybe they're hiding something. Is there any reason for concern that they did not get the DNA, process the DNA, identify the DNA the right way?
I don't think that's a concern at all. These labs are all accredited. They're all using validated technology. It's the same kind of technology used around the country. So to argue that they got it wrong, you'd have to go into all the minutia of their lab notes. It's something that I do routinely when I'm on a case, and I don't think it's going to amount to anything helpful for the defense, although you never know. I think they've done it right, and I think their conclusions are right.
All right, so the big question then is, then why didn't you find the DNA of the victims in the places you're supposed to find it? You found some bleach. Hey, I've watched CSI. They say that bleach isn't enough. You can't get rid of that stuff. So who cares if he had bleach? He's clean. Maybe he's got some Italian blood in him. He likes to clean.
Well, I think he does like to clean, but he knows how to clean. You see, he's a PhD criminology student at Washington State University, and I'm sure that during his education at the undergraduate or graduate level, he's taken forensic courses. He's learned how to clean up a crime scene. You know, crime scenes get cleaned up all the time when they get turned over from the police back to civilians. There's got to be people that come in and clean up the scene. Bleach is a good way to destroy DNA, and he did a great job. Don't forget, we don't have a murder weapon. We don't have the clothing that was worn. I bet you if the clothing was found, you'd find plenty of blood spatter. But in the car, to find the victim's DNA, you're talking about blood stains, not touch DNA, not skin cells, blood stains visible to the naked eye. And I'm sure he did a thorough job cleaning up the scenes. He knew what he was doing. He had the expertise. And it's really not a big problem for the prosecution.
Well, it doesn't have to be a big problem for Mark Geragos. It can be just one. And that's the concern, is that what they didn't find where it wasn't could be enough for just one juror. Mark Geragos, take us through it.
Well, Larry does a nice job of presenting the prosecutorial slant on this. The problem that the prosecution's got is that the prosecution is now going to be arguing, hey, there's no cell phone evidence that ties him to the location. Hey, there's no DNA that ties him to location other than touch on the sheath. Hey, we don't have any triangulation. And hey, he must have cleaned it up, even though we know he was in and out of there in a time period, as you might remember, Chris, that is getting increasingly compressed. And hey, by the way, we sealed the records in this case, and we asked the judge to seal the records because we thought there were other suspects, and lo and behold, what do we learn now? That there are not one, but two unidentified male specimens that arguably are at the scene. I beg to differ. I think other than the fact they've now made it a more pro-prosecution jury by asking for the death penalty, because you get more pro-prosecution jurors. Right. This is as big a bombshell as people are making it out to be.
But you get people who want more, too, if you're asking them to kill somebody. Dave Aronberg, do you see any pockets of concern for the prosecution in this?
I don't. And with an expert witness like Dr. Larry, I think the prosecution will be just fine. And now you got a great lawyer like Mark Geragos who will be able to punch holes, but come on. They've got his DNA there at the scene on the sheath of the knife.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, And you can find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget.
I love Cuomo. However you say his name. I call him Cuomo. I don't know if that's right, but that's how I like it. Ann Taylor's hair. We're going to do a whole live on Ann Taylor's hair, I think, summer. Everyone in the chat's like, what? No, we've just been teasing her. She did get some more, though. Like, so when we see Ann in court, she doesn't straighten the back of her head, which I guess some of us have problems with that, but I don't, because I section it off, if you need to. Need be. But, if, you're going to be looked at from all angles. Make sure we got you looking good. If you got the client looking good, we got to make sure you're looking good. But did you notice that she was wearing like green or something the last time? Whatever it was sharp. It was a sharp color on her. I was like, dang, girl. What if the wounds don't match the K-bar knife? Oh, antisocial butterfly. I don't know. They've had to have matched it up. I mean, to like, because you can't match up a knife to a knife. Like, you can't be like this exact knife did this exact wound. You can make an educated guess on what it is, on how long it is, how, maybe powerful it would sustain, going through 4 people, things of that nature. So I know that the prosecution, they've had to have gotten that kind of stuff back already, I would say, because it's been this long, and they had the bodies taken to Spokane, Washington for autopsy. So they were done up there. They were done pretty well. So I don't know. But if that were the case, then, I would just be like, I don't even know. I'd be probably going down the tunnels. I'd be like, what? The back of my head is none of my business. She is doing a good job, though. She really is. Could be surprise evidence trial. I was just reading that and thinking about her hair, but I know that has nothing to do with it. Oh, that Dyson would be nice. Yeah, $200 an hour. She can afford that. He lifts weights. I've never seen him lift weights, but I could bet he does because he's freaking big. He's a big guy. Like he's a muscular guy. I can see it when he doesn't wear his jacket. On Wednesdays, is that when Bill Leary comes on? Because man, them two together, they sit there and they just like yell at each other the whole time. It's kind of nice. Oh, well, I'm going to play that for you guys tomorrow then, I think. I'll play that for you tomorrow, since we're about an hour and 43 in. And I think I'm going to come on tomorrow during the day. I'm going to try to. Hello, Charlie. I'm like all the way back at the top. Oh, there we go. I'm like, where am I in the chat? I wouldn't think they would be going for the death if they didn't have what they need. Me too, Shauna. I truly believe that. I truly believe. If you guys were here, we did a live, and we did. Oh, sorry, Adam. Now I forgot what I was going to say because I saw this chat. Yeah, Bryan is filling in tonight. Yeah. What was I saying? Oh, I was talking about the DP, but I think there's a lot of information that we don't know about. And I think they wouldn't be going for it. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you guys. We really didn't hear a lot from Chief Fry other than, outside of the Moscow Police Department when they would have the small interviews with him, or, maybe when they did the press conferences. But we got to hear from him on a podcast. It was ABC podcast. We're on episode 3, part 3 right now. So this was part 1. And to hear the chief talk about this case, it'll bring tears to your eyes. And it's a podcast. Like, it's, he has college kids, his own. So, I mean, he has kids that are these kids' age. I can't imagine what those officers saw that day going into that. And dang, Bryan Enton is filling in. Man, she must be going, okay, Bryan, you can have it for tonight. I would stay on longer, but it is a little bit late. Vincent actually surprised me and came home for lunch today. And so I'm going to surprise him and get off the live a little bit early. But I was like, oh, I was so happy. It was really nice because I'm not used to that. So pretty much, Kristen, well, there was a lot of new documents. We went over the old documents that came out over the last week regarding the DNA, the octillions of DNA that they found. And then when the defense came back and they, had that objection to the protective order, and they said there was lack of DNA of Bryan Kohberger's at the scene, in the apartment car office, those of that nature. Watched a couple videos, and then we went over the new documents that stated that they were seeking the death penalty for Bryan Christopher Kohberger. As of today, he is on trial for his life. So, and they said that they could take that off the table if they, at any point, they want to. So I think they're putting that in there for a reason. I don't think that little part was in there for no reason. I think that was there to, let them know. And Mountain Mama, did you say you had a crush on Bryan Etten? Because I do too, but he's married. He's getting married, and it's to a man. It's not to me. I thought I was going to be able to invite you guys to our wedding, but he said, don't like girls, Tanya. I was like, oh, dang. Bryan Etten. But he's the cutest. And I'm glad he did a very, very, very good job. Out of everybody that's reported on this case, and including like Vinny, I love my Vinny too. But I mean, really, Bryan went above and beyond. The dude was out there in the cold day in and day out. He didn't complain. He always reported the story. He never went around the facts. He really did. Compared to, I love Banfield, but compared to Banfield, he didn't go on that, train wreck as much. So I appreciated him for that. And it was so great to see you guys today. So I'm just reading through the chat. So yeah, I know we're getting closer to, I just saw someone put in the chat like 9.4K or 3K subs or something. Yeah, we're getting up there, guys. We have, right now 93.45. So we're doing really good. I can't believe it. I mean, I can, but I can't because it's because of you guys. That's why. And this awesome community. But I think I'm going to try to do like a daytime live tomorrow. I say this all the time. And then I'm like, well, documents are going to be dropping. So actually tomorrow I lied. I lied to you already. Don't leave. I lied to you. It's court's tomorrow. So court is at 1:30 tomorrow. So that's 1:30 Pacific time. So Eastern Standard Time, 4:30 for me. So we will be on, I'll be on as soon as I can get on. It might be around 5, 6 o'clock. I'm going to try to get on as soon as they are releasing video or whatever they plan on doing, because I heard that he's supposed to be expected to be at court tomorrow. So, of course we'll be here streaming it because we've been here since November 13th. And this actually marks 701 videos that I have put on this platform. 701. Your girl has worked her tail end off. I was like, oh my Lord, when I saw that yesterday. So 701. Wow. So if you ever need anything to watch, I got you. Also, I did put a new TikTok up today if you guys want to watch it. It's about what Vincent's mom sends for him for snacks. She's my little Japanese mother-in-law from California, and she sends the cutest stuff. So I put a little video together. So if you want to watch it, you can. But yes, I know thank you, Brooklyn. I am so close to 10. It's been an exciting ride. It's been really exciting. Like, remember when there was only 200 of us? I remember when I didn't even have a channel name. And now look at us over here doing big things with the big girl camera and stuff and the mic. But I love you guys, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Don't forget, make sure you have the alerts, on. That way you can be alerted to new content, all that good stuff. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you, Summer, for the super sticker. That was amazing tonight. Thank you for all the gifted memberships. All of you guys. Jan, I know that you gifted a bunch of memberships tonight. If you're still in here, if you're not sleeping. I appreciate it so much, guys. I will see you guys all tomorrow.